Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of the Let's Talk Thursdays podcast. I'm BrendenPlayz, and we are doing a post-Battleground discussion. We're going through the Battleground pay-per-view, giving my thoughts and opinions on it, what went wrong, what went right. Many of you kind of say nothing went right. I've been reading a lot of comments saying perhaps this is the worst pay-per-view in a number of years. I wouldn't even say it's the worst pay-per-view in the last month. I thought Money in the Bank was worse, so that's my early opinion on it, but we'll get into that in a moment's time. But before we get into the show, I just want to remind you guys of a few things that's going on. First of all, there's a giveaway happening right now on the channel. If you want to get yourself a copy of Total Extreme Wrestling 2016, you can do so by heading over to the video that I uploaded the other day and clicking on the link in that description and entering in. All you have to do is enter, and if you're a subscriber of the channel, you are allowed to enter, and you can enter as many times as you can, and the more entries the better, and you can score yourself a copy of the game. There's 2 copies available that I'm giving away, and I'm also giving one away to members of the BrendenPlayz forums, and to win that one, all you have to do is book WrestleMania 34, so it's a bit of a competition on who can book WrestleMania 34 the best, keeping in mind some of the elements of Total Extreme Wrestling. So it's kind of a bit of a practice for yourself before you get the game, if you do win, of course. So that's a nice little test that we've got going on there, so you can check that out as well on the forums, BrendenPlayz.com/forums. That's going on right now as well. As well as that, SummerSlam, August 5th is the date that we'll be uploading. Unfortunately, we couldn't get it done this weekend. I'm going away. It's actually my girlfriend's birthday this weekend, so you got to do what you got to do. You got to go away, and you got to get that done. So yeah, I can't get the pay-per-view out this weekend. I kind of feel pretty bad. I probably should have, rushed it and, maybe got it done last weekend or something like that. But then, NXT TakeOver just took a lot of time than I thought. So it's been a crazy couple of weeks, I guess. And I guess the extra time that I'll have next week to get it done, hopefully that will help make it better. I've done every other video I need to do until the pay-per-view, so I kind of have a whole week to spend on the pay-per-view and make it as good as I possibly can. So that's probably the positive thing coming out of it, that I'll have that extra time to make it as great as I can. So August 5th is the day, Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. UK time, and that will be when we're streaming it live on the channel. Of course, always available to watch on the channel after the stream is over. So make sure you keep an eye out for that and check it out when it's available. And I once again apologize for the delay, but that's just the way it is. Sometimes life gets in the way a little bit. And unfortunately, I'm a one-man team. And when you got to make a 2.5 hour video and you're a one-man team, it's difficult, man. It's difficult, And if you got other things going on, it's hard to get it all done on the time. Plus, you got to do a video every single day at the same time. I got to get a TW or another universe mode or this podcast. You got to juggle that up and get it. At the end of the day, you got to get a 2.5 hour or 2 hour pay-per-view at the same time. It can be a lot to get done. And as a one-man team that I am, I have got no help. I edit everything. I make all the graphics, well, except for the pay-per-view graphics, but I make all that, all the thumbnails, all that. Run my forums, run my website, social media. I got to do all that. I wear a lot of hats. And sometimes it gets a little bit too much, and you can't get everything done that you would like to on time. So just a quick apology from me. Hopefully you understand. And so far, I think you guys have been pretty understanding. I think a lot of people just wanted to know what time the pay-per-view was going to come out. A lot of people had questions, or where is it? I think you guys just wanted to know and have a set date, so I can give that to you. And now you'll know when you can expect to see it. So hopefully it'll be good. But yeah, once again, check out that giveaway. It's up on the channel now. And other than that, really not much else happening for me. Like I said, going away for a few days. But we'll have some Total Extreme Wrestling videos out for you guys. And we've got the brand new episode of Universe Mode that just dropped. So you can check that out as well. And that is the Smackdown. We have one more episode that is NXT. And that'll be coming up over the weekend, probably. But then we have like a week or so where we don't have a Universe Mode episode. So I know I kind of feel bad for doing that, but it's just the way it is. Maybe we might try and fill something in. Maybe we'll do a SummerSlam promo. Maybe a top 10 or something. I don't know. We'll try and maybe fit something in if we need to. But for now, we're doing a lot of Total Extreme Wrestling videos. And with Total Extreme Wrestling, we're about to have Slammiversary. So after that, it's the Bound for Glory series. And I've been really excited to bring you guys the Bound for Glory series. So very, very pumped to do that. So you probably will see a lot of videos from me because I'll probably be playing it quite a lot. So looking forward to that. And yeah, so... Okay, so we'll move along now to a few other different topics. We'll get into the show today. The biggest news that has come out today is the announcement of the WWE 2k18 Collector's Edition. This edition will be focused around John Cena, celebrating 15 years of John Cena. Now, to be honest, I feel as though this is a pretty weak Collector's Edition. I think... the content that you get is not bad, but I just feel like surrounding it around John Cena is something that's, been done before. Not many people are probably interested in that. I don't know. I mean, you don't really get that much in terms of John Cena stuff, anything really exclusive. We'll get into what actually is in the pack in a moment, but I will tell you this. I feel as though this is not a 2K or the people who make the game decision. This is quite clearly a WWE decision. This is WWE saying, hey, this is who we want the special edition to be on and based on. And obviously John Cena, being their top guy, is their pick. But I feel as though, look, it's a step backwards, really. I mean, we put Seth Rollins on the cover, which is great. That's a good step in the right direction, highlighting some of their newer talent, their current generation of stars. Kurt Angle is the pre-order bonus, highlights the legendary superstars from the past. Putting John Cena as the special edition, with honestly, what you get in the collector's edition is pretty poor. So we'll go through it right now. This is what you get. So it is called the WWE 2k18 Cena Nuff. Yes, Cena Nuff edition, which I think, by the way, that's a very poor name. That's a name that's like a meme. Hey, we've seen enough of John Cena. You don't call your collector's edition Cena Enough. I think that's really silly. I think that's not very professional. That's just my opinion, but I feel as though that's a poor name. I think you could have just say, hey, 15th anniversary of John Cena edition. I think that would have been fine. But Cena Enough, I get what they're trying to do. It's like, okay, whether you like Cena or you don't, this is kind of for you. And they've kind of done it in that way, which I can get that. But still, I feel as though that's just a poor name. I think it's a meme. It's a meme, not a video game collector's edition name. I don't know. But it comes with an exclusive Mattel John Cena Enough action figure, which I believe you can change the shirt on him. One side says Cena Rocks or something, and the other one says Cena Enough, I think. So, yeah. So you can kind of pick on what you want. The action figure is nothing special. It's just your general, John Cena figure that you would pick up from the stores, which is fine. I liked in previous years how they had, with the Finn Balor action figure, it was, kind of special. It looked really cool. You couldn't really do anything with it. It was more for show. I guess this one's more practical. But, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's okay. I just feel as though the shirt doesn't really... do that much for me. But as well as that, it comes with limited edition Fanatics commemorative plaque featuring a piece of the ring mat and its autograph. So that's cool. You get a piece of the ring. They've done that many times. Autographed by John Cena. That's fine. I have on my wall, I've got like a little plaque of Bobby Roode at NXT, and it's got a piece of the ring and whatnot. I don't think it's signed, but yeah. So I've also gotten something like that as in the past. You get a photo from John Cena's 16th World Championship victory at the Royal Rumble. You also get the WWE 2k18 Deluxe Edition, which contains the Season Pass. 2 playable versions of John Cena, one from ECW One Night Stand in 2006 and WrestleMania 26, which was in 2010. And I'm guessing that was with Batista. I'm pretty sure that was. And obviously, with that, you get 2 playable legends, Batista and Rob Van Dam. And I think for me, that's the draw, getting Batista and RVD. especially RVD again. I think that's really cool. We've had Batista quite a bit, but to get Batista and Rob Van Dam, I'm probably going to assume it's Batista of current and not from 2010. Maybe there's a tie from both. I doubt it. They didn't say anything like that, so I'm doubting it. But hopefully it is probably the current day versions, and then we can maybe, edit that. But RVD back, which is good. I'm happy about that. I've kind of wanted to use Rob Van Dam in my own universe mode a little bit more as well, so that's cool. And obviously Batista is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, so getting him in the game is always a bonus for me. And, I probably would start to use him again as well in my universe mode and just in general play. As well as that, of course, you get the Kurt Angle pre-order pack, which is 2 playable versions of Kurt Angle, one from 2001, the American Hero persona, and the Wrestling Machine persona from 2006, in more of his ECW days type of thing. And you also get some Supercard content. Now, this is interesting. This is an interesting, move from them. It's kind of trying to integrate Supercard into their game, and I get that, but you kind of get this, you kind of buy this game and get this collector's edition to get content in WWE 2k18. To get content in Supercard, that's a risk. That's bold. I'm not against it. I don't personally play Supercard anymore. I played it a fair bit, probably in maybe 1 month, into intervals, and I honestly really enjoy Supercard, but it's not a game that I would play all the time. So, getting these limited edition cards maybe would entice me to check it out again. But, it's just very weird that we're going to give Supercard content away. Obviously trying to promote Supercard, and I can respect that. It is a good game. I would recommend it if you're a WWE fan, you've never played it before. I would definitely recommend it. But, so it's an interesting move. But that's your collector's edition, and I honestly was not expecting that. My prediction was they were going to do an Undertaker special edition, obviously with Undertaker most likely retiring at WrestleMania. I thought that was the right move. I thought that was going to be a good call, celebrating the career of The Undertaker. Now, obviously, they did that a few years ago with the WrestleMania mode of The Undertaker. They gave away the casket and things like that. So they have done that recently, but I feel as though they could have done something different. And obviously now this is it, being the end of The Undertaker. You get the feeling that, hey, that's probably the right guy to do it. Or not John Cena. This is just out of the blue, isn't it? John Cena just because it's John Cena. And Cena's not even around as much right now anyways. So that's, again, another bold move. I personally would have done it. And like I said earlier, I feel as though this is a WWE decision. Like, hey, we want it to be focused on John Cena. He's our guy. Do it on him. Not The Undertaker. Maybe that's a sign. Maybe Undertaker's not done yet. Because you feel as though, hey, Undertaker's done, then he's the guy to do it on. I'm pretty sure everyone would be buying that. I think, you get yourself something Undertaker related, something signed from The Undertaker, some, old school Undertaker, some new school, every different variation of The Undertaker. That would have been great. We've had that. Yes, we have. But I feel as though this is like the 1 year that you probably want that more than any time now that, he's done. So, yeah, look, John Cena, again, is going to be in the game, so it's not exactly special to get this edition. You're not exactly getting an exclusive character by getting Cena. Yeah, you get 2 old attires, but the thing about Cena and his old attires, they're not really that... You wouldn't really want to go back and use them, in my opinion. Probably his Thugonomics character, you probably would want an older one of that. That's great. But in terms of like 2006 Cena and 2010, what's the difference? It's just a t-shirt, really. So I guess the 2006 one is a little different, but the 2010 is certainly not. But look, getting Batista and RVD, that's the draw card there. That's the sale for me. And that's why I would probably want this, to get those 2. And I guess that's why probably many people would want this. I want to get as many in-ring characters as I can on my game. So... look, let me know if you're going to buy this, if this appeals to you. If you're a Cena fan, hey, that's great. Even in this one, even if you're not a Cena fan, they're trying to get you to buy it. But to me, it's, if you like Cena, you're going to want this. If you don't like Cena, well, even if he has a T-shirt that says Cena enough, you're still not going to want the figure because it's John Cena at the end of the day. So it's kind of they kind of played themselves a little bit there. I don't know, but look. I probably will get it. I'll check it out, and I'll let you guys know. But I guess getting Batista and RVD is the big bonus there for me. But yeah, so we'll move along to this week's Battleground pay-per-view that took place over the weekend. Of course, it was the Smackdown exclusive pay-per-view, WWE Battleground. Many people did not like this pay-per-view whatsoever. Many people thought this pay-per-view was one of the worst pay-per-views in years. Me, on the other hand, I thought it was better than Money in the Bank. I really did. I think some people said, hey, this is horrible. But to me, I didn't mind it. Because Money in the Bank, I guess maybe my expectations were too high. Money in the Bank ladder match, I expect so much of it. I expected this match to be insane, crazy, awesome, off the chains. I mean, but it just really wasn't. The women's one was just boring. It just was nothing. And the men's one was just the standard one. I guess, at least on this Battleground pay-per-view, we got a couple little twists and turns that kind of kept me interested. We got the Punjab prison match, which was kind of good. We'll get into that in a moment. But, yeah, I mean, look, I didn't hate it. I probably would give it a 5 out of 10. Just a very passable C- maybe. But it wasn't awful. Look, I thought the tag team match was great. The New Day winning was, I think, probably expected. I thought the Usos may keep onto it, and they might, maybe give the championships to them at SummerSlam, because I'm a big believer in giving the belts away on the major pay-per-view, not on the pay-per-view before one. So I thought they might have been able to try and get their way out of it, but in the end, the New Day won. Look, I'm not against that, because I think the New Day are really starting to card themselves as one of the best teams in recent times. And JBL keeps saying these two teams are the two best teams in years, and I probably got to agree with him, because the tag team division has been so poor. So poor. I mean, you go back to 2012, 13, it was non-existent. There was no one. There was no teams. Now we're starting to get a few teams. The tag division is kind of thriving again. People are getting interested in the tag division. And I got to say, the New Day and the Usos have been the pioneers behind that. So I absolutely agree. And I expected this to be a good match, and it was. It was a great match to open the show with. And it was one of the better matches of the night, I think, without a doubt. Maybe probably the best match of the night. And like I said, the New Day winning. Look, we've seen them have a really long title reign, but they're not going to have that length again. I think they'll probably trade it back and forth. And this is just a way to keep this rivalry going, extend the feud to SummerSlam. And, it's very possible that they may give the championships back to the Usos at SummerSlam. But the problem with the SmackDown tag division is they haven't really got many other teams coming through. They got the Breezango, what's going on there, Hype Bros kind of floundering a little bit. They just lost American Alpha. They've lost the Puerto Rico, what are they called? The Colognes. So they've lost them. Ascension and nothing. So they're kind of struggling a little bit with a bit of backup tag teams. So they've really got no choice but to go in this direction and stay with these two. But I guess we're moving on from there. Who is the surprise attacker for Breezango? So that's the other thing that's going on right now. Who's been attacking Breezango? Still really enjoying the Breezango segments. I think they're still doing a good job. Still gets a bit of a laugh every now and then out of them, and I think that's positive. I'm glad they haven't given up on them yet. I'm glad they're still going with it. Now, who's been attacking them? And I really can't put my finger on it, because I can't think of what they're doing. The only thing I can think of is either the Hype Bros, heel turn, or it's Harper and Rowan. Maybe you're forming them two together again, but I guess that would just kind of undo everything that was happening in the last 6 months with Luke Harper. But they've got nothing for him. Absolutely. For whatever reason, they don't want to use him at all. I'm so glad that they're starting to use Ty Dillinger a little bit more again. They put him on SmackDown again this week. They're doing a little bit more with him. Having him involved at Aiden English isn't much, but it's something. So I'm glad they're doing a little bit there with him. But Luke Harper, on the other hand, they're still doing nothing with him. So if they were to reform Rowan and Harper, I wouldn't care. I think that's fine. I think that's they've always been a good team. And I don't even think they've won the championships before. I still believe they've still got some time, And look, Bray Wyatt is gone on his own again. It's still not working. It's still a struggle. Harper and Rowan, look, without Bray, let's see what they can do. Let's see what they've got. And I think that's a right decision. And look, they can certainly work good tag team matches. That's the thing. They're both of them on a solo. I think Harper could do better. his match with Randy Orton early in the year was great. A good representation on the fact that he can work as a solo. I think we all agree that Eric Rowan cannot. I think Rowan as a solo, just nothing there. But them as a tag team is probably the right fit for both of them. And look, the tag division, there's a spots available. There's a couple spots available in this tag division, because once the Usos and New Day is done, well, who's going to step up next? We need another team coming through. And if Harper and Rowan are that team, great. And they could have a feud with Breezango, maybe beat Breezango, then come up with the New Day after that. So if that is to happen, I think that would be a good decision from the WWE. But look, I can't see anyone else doing it. Ascension's clearly not doing it. Hype Bros, it feels as though they're going to split themselves rather than turn heel and remain a team. So who knows? So this is the only team I can think of. Some people saying, it's going to be Gallows and Anderson. They're doing a switch from SmackDown, from Raw to SmackDown. I don't think that's going to happen, and I think obviously pretty clearly that's not happening after what happened on Raw. So yeah, this is the only team I can think of. They're trading the US Championship back and forth again. We'll obviously talk more about it when we get to SmackDown, but yeah, it's interesting. They keep doing the title changes. Some people kind of say, hey, it's devaluing the championship. And in a way, it is, but it is, a way to kind of pop a bit of a rating, keep some interest and excitement. And to be honest, it's kind of realistic, because you think about it, you probably would say these two guys are on the same level, even playing field. And some nights, AJ is going to get the better of Kevin Owens. The other night, Kevin Owens is going to get the better of AJ. So if they kind of portrayed it like that, it really would be a realistic rivalry, because, you can't be good every night. And if you got someone who's just as good as you, they're going to beat you sometimes. And I think sometimes that's what WWE is missing in a way. Obviously John Cena spent the last 15 years just mowing through everyone and never losing. It's just not realistic. But, when you build a guy up enough and you know that he's just as good as his opponent, and he loses, but then he gets a win back. Yes, it is 50-50 booking, and in the end, that's probably what you want. You don't want to devalue one of you guys. If you don't want AJ Styles to be down a level and Kevin Owens to be above him, you want them to probably stay on the same playing field, because they're at the top. You want both guys to remain at the top. You don't want one of them to fall below the top. So 50-50 booking is kind of the way you need to kind of go in this rivalry, and trading it back and forth makes both guys look good, and just kind of says, hey, you got the better of me this night, or hey, you got the better of me this night. So, look, I don't have a problem with it. I thought the finish at Battleground was a bit weird. I honestly thought they did a double shoulder down thing, but they didn't. It just didn't look right. It just looked like something went wrong. So I don't know what happened, but apparently, they changed the finish of the match halfway through the show, which again, look, I haven't brought this up, but I really believe WWE, it just blows my mind that they still do this. They still do on the job, on the day booking. It's just crazy, because you think about it, a group of 3 guys would sit down and book a whole year's worth of television in a week. They'd sit down and do it all. Nowadays, they've got a team of, 30, 40, who knows how many writers they've got. Who knows how many guys they've got in creative. I've seen them. They've got a whole long table full of guys, probably 20 guys in a creative meeting, all talking about guys they want to push, all talking about guys, what their direction is, who should we cut, who should we keep going, who should we focus on. They've got 20 guys in there, and they can't sit down and say, hey, let's book television, let's book months of television. They don't do it. They might book one storyline and have an idea of where they want to go and fill in the blanks on the day. It just blows my mind that they're still doing that, because you think about it, back in the day, someone would come up with a whole year's of television in a week and sit down and do it all. But now they can't even come up with a day's worth of television in a week. So, I just can't believe that the biggest company in the world has everything, all the money, all the staff, all the product, like everything that they could possibly need to do this, and they still don't. And it's unbelievable. The only thing changed really is there's one extra hour of Raw. And yeah, they've got 205 Live or whatever, but that doesn't really matter. They probably maybe even have a separate team for that. Who knows? But it's just crazy to me that they still do that. I just can't believe it, because if it were me and I had so many guys working with me, I'd say, hey, let's sit down, let's do it. Let's plan this out. And if we have to make a change on the day, we can. But we stay to the plan unless something's going wrong, or there's an injury, or there's someone's gone down, is sick for the day, or if someone couldn't make it. I don't know, for whatever reason, they have to make a change. But I think, in my opinion, you've got to say, hey, let's plan this out. And the fact that they do on-the-fly booking still, it just blows my mind. I just can't believe it. But yeah, so the US title gone back and forth. We'll talk about the Jericho thing in a moment. Natalya, number one contender, surprised me. I thought they might have went with Charlotte and Naomi. I just thought Natalya just didn't have enough steam to kind of do a SummerSlam match, a big SummerSlam match. But I guess, obviously, the card being quite strong, it probably doesn't matter if the Women's Championship match is not as strong and a little bit weaker in that regard. I think that's fine. But Natalya is definitely credible, no doubt about it. But they just haven't booked her that well in the last number of months to make her that threat. I think her feud with Nikki Bella last year, she was looking great in that, and she kind of floundered around a little bit with that. The whole welcoming committee thing, that was obviously, had potential, but they just dropped it after a while. And they're sticking with this Tamina and Lana thing now, showing some dissension. I don't know what's going on there. They're, like, after 2 weeks now, they already hate each other. It's all over the place. It's a bit of a mess there. Finally, the one thing everyone seems to hate is Great Khali making a return in the Punjabi prison match with Jinder Mahal and Randy Orton. The match itself, look, if they're ever going to do a Punjabi prison match again, scrap the first escape the door thing, because that was so boring. I nearly fell asleep, honestly. It was putting me to sleep. It was so bad. But as soon as they escaped that first area, got to the second bit, I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was physical. It was intense. There was a lot of shenanigans. Singh brothers getting involved. Couple of good spots. Throwing them off the top of the cage. Throwing Samir through the announce table. Some really vicious kendo stick shots. Obviously, Randy Orton showing some battle scars there. So the match really lifted towards the end. It had a strong finish. It did. Khali coming out. Look. Here's the funny thing. You probably won't believe me, but I'll tell you this anyways. I was watching Battleground, and probably about an hour into the show, I was just thinking about this match, and I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool, wouldn't it be interesting if the Great Khali came out? I just thought it'd be funny if the Great Khali came out and kind of endorsed Jinder Mahal. I didn't think he probably would interfere, because honestly, I didn't think he'd be able to walk to the ring. I thought, hey, if he walks up to the stage when Jinder Mahal's there celebrating, that would be a nice endorsement for Jinder Mahal and a nice little moment for the Indian fans, and obviously a nice little, homage to Great Khali, because obviously it's his match. He in a sense debuted it. So I thought that would be cool. I didn't think he'd be able to walk to the ring and interfere, but that's what happened. So I just had a feeling that would be probably a smart decision. I didn't expect it to happen, and then it did. I thought that was just kind of funny. He came out and interfered and helped out. And look, at the end of the day, Randy Orton went through 4 guys, and nearly won. So it doesn't make Randy look bad at all. Jinder still looks like a goof, still looks like he get beat all by himself anytime. But is Khali going to be wrestling? What's Khali going to be doing? To be honest, I don't think so. I felt as though it was a one and done, but it's possible he may show up again. He's just so awkward, though. He's just so awkward. He's kind of grabbing the belt of Jinder and celebrating himself. It was just a bit of a mess. I think you've got to let him do one little thing, and that's it. Because choking out Randy was fine. He could do that, and I'm surprised he could actually climb the cage a little bit. Honestly, to be honest, I feel as though Khali couldn't even walk. I didn't even think Khali could work a match. I didn't think Khali could do anything, because last time, before he left WWE, he looked rough. He looked like he was struggling. But he looked okay. Maybe a bit of rest, and he looks okay. So, look, I don't want to see him wrestle. For the love of God, I don't want to see him wrestle. Nobody does. He cannot wrestle. He cannot work. But coming out there, helping Jinder, I'm not against it. I'm really not. I think having him come out there and endorse Jinder Mahal is a nice way for the former Indian great guy, like the Indian star, to endorse the new guy coming through. And you may hate Khali and think he's the drizzling shits. I think we all do. But it was probably a smart call to get himself involved in this if you're going to look at the long-term direction for Jinder and getting that support more from the Indian crowd. So, yeah, I mean, look, you can hate it, but I thought it was probably the right decision to get him involved somehow. I don't want to see him again maybe come out and... Look, if he was going to be involved again, he would have came out and done something on Smackdown this week. But he didn't show up, so I'm kind of thinking that, okay, it was a one and done, which I think is probably for the best. If he comes out again and interferes, okay, really, we don't need to see that again. But it was a nice little surprise. In a time where we get no surprises in WWE, we've had a couple of surprises in the space of a week, which is nice. It's rare. And whether Khali is a good surprise or not, it's a surprise. So, look, let's just hope he doesn't wrestle at the end of the day. But that's Battleground. Like I said, look. Oh yeah, and the flag match. I kind of forgot about that. It was okay. I didn't mind it. It was fine. I think we all knew Cena was winning. It was a nice little spot at the end with the two tables. It was what it was. It was a fine match. It was okay. Nothing wrong with it. I think it was a nice back and forth. And the fact that they had to grab the flag and take it to the stage and put it on the flagpole thing, I thought that was a nice... I don't know, do they normally do that? I have no idea. I haven't seen a flag match in a while. I can't say I'm really going out of my way to watch flag matches, but if that's a normal thing, then I think that's a good call. Because I thought, honestly, when the match was happening, that if they grabbed the flag, the match was over. And I thought, wow, this is just going to be, silly. But to get it, and you have to get it up to the stage, I think that's fine. And as a match concept, not the worst. Honestly, not the worst. And not the worst, but yeah. So look, Battleground was okay. I didn't hate it. I liked it more than Money in the Bank. So I may be the only one that says that, but some people say it's the worst pay-per-view in 5 years. I probably could say I've seen worse. I think I could probably list some, but I'd have to think about it. And any pay-per-views that really suck, I just delete from my brain, my memory. So I couldn't really name one right now for you, but I can tell you this: I have watched worse. So. And look, to be honest, I actually sat down and watched the pay-per-view. Normally, when I watch a pay-per-view, I'm playing a game or something. I've just got it in the background, just keeping an eye on it. This time, I actually sat down and watched it. And yeah, I nearly fell asleep during the Jinder match, but other than that, I was entertained. So, moving on now to Monday Night Raw, and once again, Raw. I mean, I actually think Smackdown was the better show this week. For the first time... I don't know if for the first time since the Superstar shake-up. I'm sure SmackDown's probably been better once or twice since, but I gotta say, the first time in a while, I've been really hating on SmackDown a lot lately, but they really stepped it up this week. I don't know what happened. Maybe they thought themselves, hey, SmackDown's not going well, had a lot of bad reactions and reviews. It's time to do something. They probably called in Chris Jericho once again for a one-night only deal. Some people are saying, hey, Jericho's back full-time. What's he going to do at SummerSlam? And I had an argument with people on my Discord chat saying, hey, why is he taking the pinfall? Well, it's simple. Jericho's on tour. Jericho's touring with Fozzy. He probably had a night off in his schedule, and he was probably nearby. He was probably in a couple towns away. Probably just performed, or he's going to perform in a couple days. I don't know. Probably had a day off and said, hey, look, I'm available, and they might have, called up Jericho and said, hey, can you do this? And he did. He looked a little flabby. Obviously, it's only been a few months since he's been gone, but he looked a little bit flabby, so he's probably been downing a few beers whilst he's been on tour and enjoying himself, which is good. I gotta say, good on him. But he did look a little flabby, but he still went fine in the ring. And it was a good match. I really enjoyed that triple threat match. But I've got myself sidetracked here. We'll go back to Raw. Look, the world title picture on Raw, how good is it? Honestly, Fatal 4-Way, absolutely the right call. It needed to happen. I'm so glad they went in this direction. It's a fantastic call. First time in a long time we've had 4 guys all going for the World Championship. All, you could say, I think they all should win. Any one of them as champion, to me, is fine. And that is a rare, rare thing for WWE, because normally you say, okay, Dolph Ziggler's in the match. All right, we don't want him to win. Cena's in the match. All right, yeah, he'll probably win. And maybe Seth Rollins, okay, he's got a slight chance. There's always one or two that may get it done, but not all four. Not all four. All four have a case. All four have been great. I think Samoa Joe has finally started to get the momentum he's needed. And now they've legitimized him as a main event guy, and I'm so glad about that because he's really stepped it up. His work has been terrific. Braun Strowman's been great ever since the brand split. And by the way, it's been a year now since the brand split. Ever since the brand split, they've used him well, they've built him up really nicely, and it's been a great journey, and I would love to see him win the championship. He's probably the one I would like to see that win the championship next. Roman Reigns, you like him or hate him, but he has done great work. He has. And I think his promos have been a little bit better lately as well. And I think, honestly, it's probably a little bit too soon. I guess I'm kind of contradicting myself, but I don't think it's the right call to give Reigns the belt right now because I feel as though you could do better with Strowman or Joe right now to just give them that one big win that they need just to legitimize them and keep them at the top, whereas Reigns is always going to be okay. But honestly, yeah, look, all four could win this match. It's looking really, really good, and the build they're doing is great. The one little thing, though, a triple threat next week, I'm not sure about. I don't know about giving that match away. I get why, but I maybe wouldn't have went in that direction. But it's quite possible that whilst the match is going on, Lesnar comes out, interferes, and just kicks some ass. I think that was probably the one thing missing from the brawl this week. Obviously, Strowman getting the security guard and launching him over the top of the ring, Miles was awesome. But, geez, wouldn't it be great if these guys are brawling and then, boom, Lesnar's music hits and he comes out and they just go all at it. I think that would have been amazing, but obviously he wasn't there. They didn't pay him to come in that week. So that could have happened, but it didn't. But I got to say, the rest of Raw can be crap, but I got to say, this world title match is going to keep me interested until SummerSlam. It's really, really great. It's a huge angle right now, and it's fantastic. Sheamus and Cesaro got no opponents right now in the tag division. They're kind of going with the Hardys and the Revival, it seems to be, and they're kind of trying to, bump up Gallows and Anderson a little bit as well. But, what's going on? Cesaro and Sheamus, will they have an opponent for SummerSlam? Maybe they won't. Maybe they will. I don't know. But, yeah, it's kind of hard to really say what the direction is going to be. Maybe it's a multi-man match, but at the moment you probably would say maybe they don't. Maybe it's a number one contender match at SummerSlam. Jason Jordan. So, we build on from last week's revealing Jason Jordan to be Kurt Angle's son, and they followed up with a lot of vignettes, a lot of segments dedicated to this. Kurt Angle's reaction, Jason Jordan's reaction, then a Jason Jordan match. It was quite a lot for one guy who, for the first week in his career, for a number of years, the first time in the big time, he's been a solo act. Look, you had a nice little match with Kurt Hawkins. It was fine. I still think he should be probably using Kurt Angle's finisher, the Angle Slam. I think that would have been a good call. But he's certainly the happy-go-lucky, this is so great, Kurt's my dad, and this is so cool. They're going in that direction. So for me, he's got to be setting up for a heel turn. This is going to turn, the crowd are going to turn on him soon. This is great for now, but I think people are going to start to see through it. And I think they probably know this as well. I think the crowd will probably turn on him, in a month or so. He might start to get booed, and that's when you just got to unleash the guy. Just snap and, really go after everyone. Maybe Kurt Angle starts to disagree what his son's doing, doesn't like what his attitude. He's trying to help him, trying to fix him. Maybe you set up a match between the two down the line. Maybe, Jason Jordan made the whole thing up. Maybe Kurt Angle isn't Jason Jordan's actual dad, and Jason Jordan made things up to try and further his career. You could go in that direction, and you could have a big payoff at WrestleMania. You could do something like that if this angle does start to, no pun intended, but if this storyline does start to drop off a little bit, that's some of the directions you can go for to get a bit of an out. But look, so far I don't hate it. I think Jason Jordan as a solo is fine. I think he's got a lot of potential, a lot of talent, and with some guidance, he may get there. But still early days. And anyone saying, "Oh man, he sucks, he's so boring," look, it's been 1 week. Give the guy a break. He had a match with Kurt Hawkins, for goodness sake, and he's just, he's playing the "wow, this is so great" kind of thing. He's just playing the, a super babyface role right now. We'll see if he gets a bit more attitude towards him down the line. Bayley beat Sasha to become the #1 contender for the Women's Championship. For whatever reason, I have no idea. I don't know what they're doing. Why are we doing this match again? We just had, 2-3 matches between the two on pay-per-view. They weren't good. We just had one of the worst storylines of the year, some of the worst segments of the year between Bayley and Alexa Bliss. We've had some awful, awful segments between the two, and we're going back to it. It's like, well, it didn't work the first time, but we're sure it's going to work this time, and they're probably not going to do anything different. Look, I'm guessing this leads to... I've been saying this for a long time now. Sasha's going to turn heel. It just hasn't happened. I thought it was going to happen a long time ago. But surely this turns Sasha Banks heel. Maybe at SummerSlam, and turns on her friend for taking her spot, turns on her friend for taking the spotlight away from her. She doesn't want to play second fiddle to Bayley. I don't know. Surely this does something, because otherwise... if Bayley just has a match with Alexa Bliss, gets beat again, and we just go again, Sasha becomes #1 contender this time, we just do that. I don't know, man. Look, in first place, I don't think Sasha should have had to, become #1 contender again. I think she should already be #1 contender and have a shot at the champ. But for whatever reason, they didn't go that. And I don't know why they changed direction. Do they not see Sasha as a big enough star? I doubt it. Do they feel as though they're going to get a better match between Bayley and Alexa? I don't know, because their first few matches were not good. It's a very strange call. I don't know. I'm sure there's more to it. Whether that be a turn of some sorts, I don't know. But surely there's more to it than just, hey, okay, we changed plans. We booked on the fly again, and all of a sudden Vince woke up and said, you know what? I like Bayley more today. I'm going to give her the match instead. It's possible. It is possible, but yeah, look, I don't know. I thought Sasha and Alexa was, especially after winning that big gauntlet match and doing all that, you can't have her with that big win and just kind of forget about it and then shoehorn Bayley back in the title picture. I don't know. I just feel like that's just terrible. Bad booking, to say the least. Main event, we had a Shield mini reunion. Ambrose and Rollins teaming up to take on the Miztourage. Gotta say, Dean Ambrose is a lot more interesting when Seth Rollins is by his side. These two as a team has my interest. Ambrose on a solo really does not. But I gotta say, I really enjoyed this combination again, and I'd love to see it going forward. Tag team title feud, I think it'd be great. You put Ambrose and Rollins against Cesaro and Sheamus, I think you'll have some really good matches there. And if they, deal with the Miztourage and go into that, I think that'd be great. Hardy Boys match would be awesome. Revival. There's a lot of matches you could do there that would be really, really good. And you don't have to have Roman Reigns in there. And if there's nothing right now for either guy to do, I think that's not a bad direction or not a bad way to get them still involved in something big. And it was good to see the Miztourage elevated into that main event role to close out Raw. Look, Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel, I don't know whose idea was it to form this group, but it's the greatest thing to happen to their careers, I can tell you that. Wow, what a resurgence. Curtis Axel looks $1 million in a suit, comes out, he looks a star again. He's not a star, but he's looking like one. I wish he would get in better shape. I think he's just got an average look to him. I feel as though if he took some advice from Jinder, just bulked up a little bit more, got a bit more toned up, it just had a bit more of a superstar body. With his look, his look I think could really carry him to something. Forget about the charisma and the mic ability. Forget about that. At least if he had a better look, he might have more of a chance. But he just has such an average look. It's hard to really buy into him as a main event guy or even a mid-card guy. He just has a very average look, and to that look, he kind of looks like a job guy. So that would be my only suggestion to him. Just work a bit harder in the gym and bulk up a bit more, because I feel as though a bit more size to him, ripped up a little bit more. It doesn't have to be Jinder Mahal crazy, but just a little bit more would just legitimize him and make him look a bit more like a star. Because he's obviously got some muscle definition, no doubt about that. But I just feel as though, look, if he was a bit bigger, and might help his case. But look, that's the thing. You can say that about a lot of guys, though. Really, everyone could probably bulk up a bit more. To be fair, but that's how I feel about Curtis and Bo Dallas. I mean, look, I don't know what you can really do with him. I still think there's something there, but I'm not sure. If I have to say who has the more potential, I would say probably Curtis Axel. Honestly, there's always the whole Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas thing they could always go to. I still think that's not a good idea. Could be proven wrong, but if Bo Dallas They could have done that a couple of years ago, Bo Dallas being the inspirational one, and Bray Wyatt obviously being a leader and, follow the business and things like that. They could have had something between the two where, okay, they're both leaders, they're both trying to inspire people, both trying to kind of, have their own message. They could have maybe done something there, and obviously being related, they could have went with that, but they didn't. Now I think that ship's really sailed. I don't think you could really go back to that. Moving on to Smackdown this week, though, we had Chris Jericho, surprise return. Didn't expect that. I don't think anyone did. Like I said earlier on, we kind of went into it. Great triple threat match. Giving the belt back to AJ. Nice surprise. Yeah, it's back and forth. I'm not sure what the end game is here, who wins it in the end. But look, at the end of the day, it is only the US title, and this is the championship that they've really treated poorly over the years. Same with the IC title. Having either Kevin or AJ hold it, it's not a big deal to me. I think either, if they, go back and forth a couple of times, I think that's fine. I think it's fine. Next week, they're going to do Nakamura and John Cena on SmackDown. The winner takes on Jinder Mahal at SummerSlam. I mean, that's a big match. That is a huge match. They're giving it away on free TV on SmackDown. That's wow. That's a big call. I don't know about that, but the way I see it is that more than likely this match will have some shenanigans. It's not going to be the big match that we're all probably expecting. It's not going to be a 20-minute match. It might be, them two going back and forth for 5, 6, 7 minutes. Something may happen. Maybe Khali comes out. I don't know. Maybe this thing, Jinder. There's some rumors now that, obviously Nakamura and John Cena are both on the SummerSlam poster. So there's some rumors now that there may be a triple threat between those three, obviously adding in Jinder Mahal for the championship. So that's possible. It is possible, but I feel as though if you're going to have a fatal four-way for the Universal title, having a triple threat for the WWE Championship is a bit overkill with the multi-man matches. So I don't know about that. But it is possible that they're just both, they see them both as big enough stars to be on the card, be on the poster. So, that could just be a coincidence. It might not really mean anything. But I could see it happening. To be honest, who do I think should win? Look, I would like to see Nakamura in that position. I really would. And if someone's going to beat Jinder for the championship, I think Nakamura would be the right one. I think it would be a real shame if Cena won the belt and he breaks Ric Flair's record and it's against Jinder. It's like, okay, yeah. And if Cena lost to Jinder, that would just be ridiculous, honestly. Jinder's beaten Randy enough to beat Cena. It would just be like, all right, really? How hard are we pushing this freaking guy? And Jinder, look, I've been so critical of him, and I think it's fair enough. I just feel as though his promos are just still the drizzling shits. He's just got nothing in the voice. He just needs more and better projection in his voice. He just doesn't have it. It's the fact that he's trying to put on an accent and he's struggling to do it. Maybe that's the case. I don't know, but yeah, look, his match with Randy, like I said, was okay, but it had a lot of interferences involved. He worked hard. I got to say, both guys worked really hard in that match. So respect to him for giving it his all. WWE are trying to give it their all, and they're giving him big opponents, big names to work with. But I feel as though at SummerSlam, you end it. You take the belt away from him, and you move in a different direction. Mike Bennett, I'm really liking what we're seeing from him. I feel as though they could play off a little bit more on this storyline they got going on, this gimmick that they got going on with him and Maria. Obviously, Maria, the First Lady of SmackDown, and basically, controls Mike Bennett. I think they could do a little bit more with that. As soon as the match begins, they stop the match, and Mike has to go kiss Maria, and stops the match because he has to, check her hair, or, fix her, fix something from her, or grab something from her, just continuously be all about her, and have all these interruptions and just frustrate his opponents, and then use some sneaky tactics, get her involved to help out a bit more. They could do a little bit more with that. But the theme music is cheesy, but I like it. I think this character has potential. Him as a wrestler itself, I don't think is much there. I don't see him as a star or anything like that. But it's not a bad idea to put him in this type of gimmick. It's a fun little goofy thing. It's always going to be a mid-card act. But that's probably where he's at. And this is a thing that can separate him from the rest. And so far, I'm saying it's working. Some people might say, no, it's really not. But I'm liking it. I am. Maybe I'm kind of going back into the day where I'm starting to like a bit more gimmicks. It's been a while. I think some people just don't have a gimmick. Some people are just Seth Rollins. I'm Seth Rollins. Okay, well, what about you? Well, I don't know. I'm just Seth Rollins. I'm a Kingslayer. I'm an architect. And they really don't play off on any of that. They just kind of label someone that, and that's it. It's nice to have some kind of a character. You understand what it is, what they're doing, and that's what it is. And I don't mind that. And that's your SmackDown coverage. Look, and like I said earlier in the show, I thought SmackDown was a better show this week. It's been a long time since I've said that. But look, obviously the world title picture on Raw is so great right now. SmackDown, we don't know what it's going to be. But, look, one thing I found kind of interesting with SmackDown this week was not so much the match, but it was Road Dogg. Apparently, I think he's the head writer of SmackDown, so he's the lead guy in charge. But I tell you what, if I'm WWE, I'm pulling this guy's head in because he's getting so salty about fans online. Anyone who slightly criticizes the guy, he blocks them. Anyone who says, hey, good job, you finally booked a good show. I've seen some of those tweets, he blocked them, gets shitty. Look, he needs to kind of harden up a little bit, take some criticism. SmackDown has been really bad. Last year, I believe Ryan Ward was the lead guy, and it was awesome. It was far better. And I don't know when Road Dogg took over, but if he's writing the show right now, then I think he's to blame. I think he's a big portion to blame. Not all him, but SmackDown has been very, very poor. And it's not just the talent they've got. It's the storylines, it's the booking, it's the direction, it's everything. It's the production, everything about it's just been poor. It really has. The commentary is not great either. They really are missing Moro on the commentary. I think Tom Phillips is not great. And, they're just missing something. And Road Dogg getting probably very defensive. Maybe his job's in jeopardy. Maybe he, is saying, well, I'm trying to, defend myself here, trying to, justify that, that I'm having a difficult time here. I'm trying my best. I get that, but to me, it looks unprofessional when he's coming after people, commenting about that. And I think you wouldn't see Triple H doing that. You wouldn't say, if they had a bad Raw, Triple H wouldn't come out and block fans and kind of go online and talk shit about people, to fans. And because at the end of the day, these are the fans that are going to watch your product. Whether they like it or not, they're going to watch it. So to get all salty and really, upset about it, just a bit unprofessional to me. And if I was Vince and Triple H, I'd, be advising his staff to say, hey, don't worry about what they're saying. Don't worry about it. Stay off Twitter. If you can't, use your social media, you can't handle criticism, then don't go on social media, because at the end of the day, that's all it is most of the time, especially with wrestling fans. If there's one slight issue, they're going to complain. You just heard me complain about things. We all complain. I've seen it myself, and it is very frustrating because myself personally, I see people comment on my videos. They might complain about one tiny detail. They don't care about the rest of the show. If they like something about it, they won't tell me. They'll only tell me the criticism, and it's very frustrating. And sometimes myself, I really want to snap, but it's just like, okay, you can't. You can't do it. You got to you can respond to them, and you can say, hey, this is why you're wrong or whatever, but you can't just say, hey, fuck you, whatever. Look, he didn't say that, but it's the vibe I'm getting from him. But it is very frustrating because I'm just getting the feeling like, obviously with my TEW, people are saying, oh, you should do this, you should do that. And sometimes it's really good advice. I'm saying, oh, yeah, I probably should do that. Other times it's, oh, really? What is that? Like, that's outrageous. Why would you say that? So sometimes it is, bang your head on the table moments. And I'm sure he's getting a lot of that. But other times it's, genuine feedback, genuine criticism and good criticism and good feedback. So, I guess you got to focus on the positives and people who are just going to hate for the sake of it. Don't give them the time of day. Don't even respond because it just makes you look bad at the end of the day. My opinion. Last little piece of news: Global Force Wrestling, Magnus, Davey Richards, and Matt Morgan all gone from the company. Magnus, I don't think will be in NXT. I think some people are saying will he go to WWE. I don't see it. I think he'll be a guy who'll just work the indies. Davey Richards has gone to work on becoming a doctor, so shout out to him, well done. And Matt Morgan's got a real life job, so he's doing some other things other than wrestling, and it's just kind of been a bit of a conflict with his job. So they're all gone. I guess a bit of positive news maybe is it's quite possible and very likely that Jack Swagger will probably be ending up in GFW. Look, I saw Jack Swagger on a house show here in last month, and he looked very average. His wrestling attire, wrestling in a t-shirt and kind of gym shorts. He looked kind of skinny. He didn't look fat or anything like that. He just looked skinny. Just looked like he hadn't been working out and really caring as much. Just had a really bad look to him. So I don't know right now if that's even a good call or a great get, because it feels as though he's just kind of, not caring at the moment. Just kind of doing his thing, just working shows for the sake of it. But I could be very wrong, but that's just the vibe I got from that. But look, if Swagger is motivated and heading to GFW and obviously realigning himself with Dutch, that might not be a bad get for Global Force Wrestling. I'm about to call it TNA, but we're not allowed to call it that anymore. But that's pretty much everything I have in terms of the latest news in wrestling and everything like that. We do have some questions we're going to get into, so we'll kick that off.
Hello, Brendan. This is Chris, WWE fan, big fan of the show. I'd like to know if CM Punk does come back, do you think he should be a part-timer or full-timer? Because if he's a part-timer, we could maybe, I would give him maybe a quick title or a quick minor title. So, should he be a part-timer or...
Well, I think it depends on the contract you can get from him. I think if he's going to come back, it would be on a limited basis. I think he would probably come back and do a WrestleMania match, maybe a SummerSlam match, and just do the odd match there. I can't see him wanting to go back on the road again. He's made his money at the end of the day. He's got some other things he can do. Getting his name back out there in WWE would obviously help his overall career. So if he's going to come back, I think it would just be, all right, let's come back, let's do some... let's work a program, let's do a WrestleMania match, and we'll go from there. I can't see him coming back and staying on the road and doing house shows and everything like that. I think it'd be just on a part-time basis.
Hey, I was just wondering, because I've just started a new Universe Mode series on YouTube. I was just wondering, when you start it, do you recommend I should crown all my champions at the start, or some of them, or do you think I should crown all? There should be no champions at the start. They should all be crowned at the pay-per-views and on the shows as they go on. Thanks.
Well, for my Universe Mode, I had every champion crowned at the start. But what my suggestion would be for you is crown most of your champions. Pick out who you want it to be, because otherwise... Well, I mean, look, you could do it all the pay-per-view, but you'll have a lot of title changes, and I think sometimes it's good just to have it all set in stone before you start. I would probably suggest for your World Championship, if you have one or two, I don't know. But if you have two championships, what I would probably do is a tournament for your big major prize. Just do a championship tournament, and the winner obviously wins the championship at the end of the day. The two finalists take each other on the pay-per-view for the championship. And that way you have a big title win happen at the pay-per-view, but then you have all the other championships on your roster and on your show kind of sorted out. So that would be my suggestion to you. Do your minor championships, give them out to someone, have a champion set in stone there, but for your world title, do a tournament or whatever you want to do. Do something, have a title, have no one have the championship and have the title beside the pay-per-view. All right, some other questions. We have one from Tanzan Med. He says, do you think it was a good idea for Jericho to return right now? It seems like he's not going to have a match with Owens at SummerSlam, so I don't really see the reason for his big return at the moment. Well, as I said earlier, I think it's a one-shot deal. I think he comes in, he works a match, a nice surprise, a nice moment for Smackdown, and he goes back to doing whatever he wants to do and comes back later. I think, look, it is maybe disappointing, but look, if he comes back, let's say he comes back in October, it's been a long time since the Jericho and Owens thing took place, and I think you think about it in storyline, would Jericho be on the shelf for that long? No, not really. So if he comes back, he tries to get a revenge on Kevin Owens, didn't work out. They've kind of closed that chapter a little bit with a potential to reopen it, but it's a nice moment, great match. I don't have a problem with it. I don't see him back on SmackDown full time. I don't see it. I could be wrong, but what would he do at the pay-per-view unless it's another triple threat? But I doubt that's going to happen. So I think it was just a one-night only deal. Cameron Fox, do you think the Great Khali should have a one-hour Iron Man match at SummerSlam? I think Khali would struggle to have a 1 minute match, let alone a 1 hour match. So it's a no from me. But look, if you want to see it, that's great. But I would turn the TV off and come back in an hour when it's done. I can just tell you that right now. I think Khali would probably die if he tried to do a 1 hour match. He's got another question here as well. How do you feel about the ending of Kevin Owens and AJ Styles' match at Battleground? Look, it was very weird. It was very odd. It felt like something went wrong. It didn't feel right. It was just out of the blue. It just didn't look right. And I felt as though maybe there was a mistake from the ref. Maybe that also wasn't supposed to happen. Some people think that they botched the pinfall. That's why they did the title change immediately straight back. I don't know. But it's very possible that is the case. But it just didn't look right. So it was a bit weird. Thomas Speller, would you be interested in getting fans on the podcast to get another perspective? Look, when I originally wanted to do the podcast, that was one of my things I wanted to do. I wanted to get a fan or someone on regularly for a post or pre-pay-per-view discussion. But I don't really do much with people because I've had some bad experiences where people have just kind of pulled out last minute or so unreliable. And for me, I'm just a solo guy at this point. It's so much easier if I just work on my own schedule, just do my own thing. I'm really tired of having to rely on other people. It's such a difficult process. And the issue is my time zones. So a lot of people that I would like to talk to are from overseas, and it's such a difficult thing to get them on the podcast and, do it at a reasonable time for both of us. So it's a very, very, very difficult thing because there's not many. I don't really have any real life friends who are into wrestling, and would want to come on the podcast to talk about it. And a lot of people that I kind of talk to aren't necessarily Australian and wrestling fans. So I've got a lot of people from overseas that would like to come on, but like I said, it's just so difficult to do it, and it's more pain than it's really worth. Than what it's worth. So. Cameron Fox, how do you feel about the lead singer of Linkin Park dying? I mean, look, it's always sad when someone passes away. I think he committed suicide, which is a very, very sad thing. In terms of Linkin Park, I was not a big fan of the music. I think the odd song there or here or there I enjoyed, but I wouldn't say I ever got all their albums and I've listened to all their songs. There's probably a handful of songs I've heard, especially when I was really young. I think my brother liked Linkin Park and would play it. Probably when I got to say like 8 or 9 or something like that. So he would have been like 13 or so. So yeah, I do remember hearing it when I was pretty young. But in terms of my fandom, not really. But it always is very sad to see that happen. And look, we've seen a few deaths in the music industry as of late, so it's pretty sad. This one's from Osha Brian. What is your all-time favorite SummerSlam match? I really struggle with these questions. You guys always ask me this, like, why, who's your top 5, what's your top 5 matches of all time? Who's your top 5 favorite wrestlers? If you could do a draft, who would you draft from Raw to SmackDown right now? These types of questions require a lot of thinking and time and effort and planning out. And I really struggle with these, what is your all-time favorite questions? Because I forget. In terms of wrestling matches, there's a few matches that stick out to me or that I remember for various reasons. It may not be the greatest matches of all time. But I will say this about SummerSlam. I feel like SummerSlam, I could be really wrong on this, but I feel like SummerSlam isn't a show that has a lot of memorable matches. I think it's a show that has a memorable card. Just my opinion, but I feel like SummerSlam is normally a good card, not a show where we have 1 or 2 epic matches. There has been some good ones. One that really sticks out of my mind is CM Punk and Brock Lesnar. I really enjoyed that match. I enjoyed the Lesnar and Taker match a couple of years ago. The SummerSlam in the last few years have had some good matches. Daniel Bryan, John Cena as well. John Cena, Brock Lesnar. There's been some good ones. Then in the 2000s, especially in the mid-2000s, there was a bit of a time when SummerSlam just didn't really have a lot of great stuff. And SummerSlam, I think, from maybe 2008 until maybe 2013, 2011 was pretty good. But during that period, there was not a lot there at all. SummerSlam was really starting to become very devalued. But you look at the 90s, and that's probably where you're going to get your best SummerSlam matches with the Bret Hart matches that he had. So you're probably looking towards that era if you're looking for the best SummerSlam matches, in my opinion. But like I said, I just feel like WrestleMania always has those classics. SummerSlam, not so much. Roy the Boy, do you think Ryan Ward should be the head of creative on both Raw and SmackDown? I think it's a job for one person to do Raw or SmackDown. To do both shows, it's too much, and your ideas start to get split across between the two, and your time and focus is split. And it's a lot of guys you're going to write for. It's a lot of guys you're going to book for, and eventually your ideas are going to get stale or very similar to what you've got going on SmackDown compared to Raw. So I think if he's going to be the head writer, he's going to have to do it on one show. One show, and I think you should have a complete separate team on Raw and a complete separate team on SmackDown and have a reward incentive for the better brand. Honestly, I think that would be the best way to drive success. You get a bonus at the end of the month if your show's, rated better. I mean, obviously TV ratings is hard because Raw's always going to do better than SmackDown TV ratings for the most part. But I think if you had polls up online, which show's doing the better this week, and SmackDown's, winning, people who's writing SmackDown should be rewarded, whether that's a cash prize, a bonus, a salary bonus, I don't know. But I feel like that's a real good incentive. So if you had that competition between, your writing staff, I feel like that's the way to go. And Vince should probably work one show and Triple H should work the other show. That's how I would kind of do it and have that rivalry, but you don't really have that anymore. So, in my opinion, he should be, head writer of one show. This is a tough question. This one's from Ayush. Hopefully I said that name right. He says, why don't you play Don Bradman Cricket 17? You are a fan of cricket and I think it'd be great. Look, I love Don Bradman Cricket 17. It's probably my most played game right now. I play it all the time. You don't know, I'm a diehard cricket fan. Cricket is my favorite sport. I live it, breathe it. It's my favorite thing in the world. I don't play it because obviously my channel is based on wrestling and not a lot of people are kind of cricket fans. And plus the game, some people really don't like watching it in real life, so I don't think people are going to really like watching it as a series on YouTube. But look, I play it all the time, and I mean, I could obviously do it, but to me, it just doesn't interest me. I just don't think it'd be that entertaining and exciting to do. But obviously, I do play it a lot, and I love the game. So if you like cricket, definitely get it. This one's from Ryan Fleming. I'm getting very bored of the whole I love America and America's amazing talk from WWE superstars, especially Cena and the USA champs, because we don't do that in England. Do you agree? It's kind of played out. It is, but Americans, from what I gather, I have never been there, but they are very patriotic. They love their country, and they definitely show it. Whereas Australians, we like Australia. We obviously, patriotic, but we don't show it as much. We don't go out there and, chant, USA. We're not like USA. We're chanting, our country and, always pro-USA. Our flags are in the front yard, waving away. We're not like that. We're not as patriotic. We don't really... 4th of July, for example, we have Australia Day. It's a nice thing, but it's not like a massive deal like it is in America and things like that. So I think America's just much more patriotic. They just love their country more, and I think it appeals more to their audience that they have that. Whereas probably England, I don't know, but aren't necessarily like that. Australia, if we had a wrestling, promotion and we were just slamming, Australia's so great, I think that would get very bored. I think that people wouldn't really care as much, but for whatever reason, it always seems to work in USA, and it's a cheap pop. It really is. It's just an easy way to get a reaction, and that's why they keep doing it. Final question comes from Roy Do Nord Express. Is Brock Lesnar on your shit list? No, he's not. Am I annoyed that his matches as of late have been so short? Yes, but he's not on my shit list. I'm still a big fan of Brock Lesnar. I cannot wait for the Fatal 4-Way match at SummerSlam. And with that being said, that is all we have time for this edition of the podcast. Thank you very much for listening in, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this show. If you did, do leave a like on it and subscribe to hear more episodes coming away very soon. Check it out on iTunes, Spreaker, and Stitcher, and of course iHeartRadio as well for more ways to listen in. If you want to leave a question for next week's episode, you can do so by leaving a comment in the YouTube comment section down below or posting over on our Facebook page. Facebook.com/BrendenPlayz is where you need to go, and we post it up every Wednesday, so check that out. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in, and I will see you all next Thursday.